connecting people, building communities, helping clients to build multi-generational wealth through real estate.
Today, we have the privilege of having Haghgoo with us. He's been an amazing resident in my community, serving everybody, not only in my community, but across the GTA, with anything that is related to the pest control. The name of their company is Pest, Be Gone, which is an amazing, by the way, branding, Shaw. So welcome.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Mitra, for having me as well.
Of course. Shaw, can you please introduce yourself and tell us more about you, your background in the pest control industry, and what drew you actually to this field, and how long have you been in this field?
That's an interesting question, Mitra. I've been in this field for over 20 years. I actually started this field back in 1980s when I was still going to school. I had a passion for bugs because everybody runs from them. So I had quite an interest for them. And I pulled away from it for a short period of time, but I realized I actually truly enjoy it. So I've held a pest control license for landscape, which is actually for land. It's called a land exterminator license. I've maintained that since roughly 1979, early 80. And we picked up the structural exterminator's license about 10 years ago, which now permits me to work in buildings.
Excellent.
And other than that, I've also picked up my the company's extermination permits through SPMA and NPMA, CFA. These are all the organizations that kind of get involved as soon as we're starting to deal with any kind of pest control.
Excellent. Great job, Shaw. I can tell you that you have been helping me, and I'm extremely grateful for just bringing ease to my personal life. Thank you for that. So, Shaw, tell me, what are the most common pests we should really look out for the fall season?
Okay, we're going into a very critical season right now. This is a season where mice are going to be looking for an area for habitat. They want to get out of the cold. They like the nice, cozy environment, which, of course, everyone's houses offers that. So they love that, and that's where they're going to be coming in. They're going to be getting into houses. In the insect side, you have to be very concerned with your hornets, your wasps. The queens are all looking for a place for the winter. All the workers, they all die. But the queens, they go in for the wintertime, they find a place, and springtime, they come back out, and they generally nest in the area where they've been in for the wintertime.
It's interesting you talk about wasps. I have been in a friend's house in Collingwood in the summer, and some kids actually got bitten by wasps on a townhome community, and it seems that their nest was underground, and then suddenly they attacked. The kids got scared. They attacked. So can you tell us more about that?
So all your yellow jacket and your mud wasps, they bore into the ground and nest underground. Okay, that's where they're coming out. Along with those, we also have carpenter bees, which like to nest anywhere they can get into, close to the ground area, inside of decks, anywhere where there's wood they could bore into. But again, in the wintertime, they're actually pretty comfortable underground. They're very protected from everything, especially if they can get really right close to that building and stay warm. So if you're getting anything coming from the ground, generally it's all wasps, mud wasps that are coming up. Your other ones, you have bees like hornets, which you've seen their nests. We have different types, mud dabbers, which they're actually quite harmless, look extremely aggressive. They're generally very harmless kinds of insects that are out there.
So, animals like humans look for comfort. Mice are looking for comfort, warm place. Wasps also, they have their nests underground. And can you share a checklist of steps to take, just to use it as a guide to prevent infestation during fall?
Right now, the most critical thing to be doing is taking a walk around your house. You're going to look for any kind of a small opening. Imagine an opening the size of a dime. This is an area where mice can actually get into. They can actually flatten their bodies down quite a bit. So you're looking for anywhere around vents, around pipes that are coming out of the building, where the gas lines are going into the building. These are areas where the construction they've bored into the wall to bring these things into the house, and therefore has it been closed off properly. Air conditioning lines, all these have to be checked. The other areas that you should check is really around your front steps. Underneath the front patio, if you have patio slabs, they kind of like to be underneath there in the summertime. This is an area where mice come in due to human neglect. People open a door, they're not looking down at the ground to see what's coming in. And these little guys are very quick. When we're into this time of the year, when opportunity knocks, they're going to run in. So you kind of make sure. Do you see any mice droppings there? Be a little bit on the caution side when you go out of the house. If you have your windows open, make sure you have screens on them. The screens are not necessarily just for the insects. They're actually really good at keeping all your rodents out. So the mice sees that it can access inside. It feels a temperature change. It's going to come in through a window that's been opened because there's no screen over there. Those are the areas of precaution that people should be taking. As far as insects are concerned, have you had any bees nests in your area, on your property? If you have, those should have been disposed of. Exterminator should have come in and taken care of those earlier, because the queens never leave the hive. The queen's job is to basically control the whole hive. And a large hive can have as many as 6 to 7 queen bees in it.
Wow.
So these queen bees and the workers are going to make sure the queen bees survive, and they're going to find a way to get into your house, whether it's through coming in from under roof parts, through the underneath the shingles when they're lifted up a bit. If the plywood is there, it's fine. But if you have deterioration in plywood, if your soffits or any of that area has a little bit of opening, these are areas where they come in very conveniently. And once they're in there, if there is no activity that's going to, in any way, they're going to get intimidated about, they will actually nest there the next year. Wow. So we have been in attics where a substantial sized nest has been developed, and at which point starts eating away the joists of the roof because the moisture that's constantly being held there from the hive, it starts deteriorating that part of it. So you have to be a little bit wary. When you see the bees in your area, see where they're coming from. If they're coming from the roof area, address that issue. Because if you don't, they are going to go further into the house. The queen will go further into the house. The others will not. The others need an area to access to the outside very quickly. But in the wintertime, the queens will go further into the house to keep warm and a place that they could stay for the whole winter period.
I've heard raccoon being in the attic, but I've never heard wasps or bees to be in the attic.
Oh, well, they're there. Raccoons get in generally through climbing up the branches of trees. Anything that's going to be any way that they can climb. They're amazing climbers.
Yeah.
And if they've been into the attic once, they will come back and they will try their hardest to tear whatever they can apart to get back in.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Thank you. So any area around the house that has an opening of a dime size, then we need to definitely check and close. And the front step and even the backyard, there are, for example, in my house, I have a step on my front and also the backyard. So I never thought that there are just a bit of a space in between, that definitely it could be just perfect place for mice.
So your raised step in the backyard is actually hollow underneath it. That's an ideal place for them to nest through the summer season. And that also puts them in a place very close to the door. So people that have a raised step, I would generally recommend take a shovel and just pull it away from the wall. If you see a lot of debris under there, because they'll drag all kinds of debris, insulation, twigs, they'll create a nest out of everything. If you see that underneath there, sweep it away, keep the step away for the wintertime, and push it back again when it comes to springtime. That's an area that's very difficult to control. In those cases, generally, you do need an exterminator to put feeding stations close by so we get them so they don't create those nests.
Thank you. So, Shaw, what are the some of the products compared to professional solutions that you see homeowners are using, and what are the pros and cons? Can you tell us more about that?
That's an interesting question. The first issue with the consumer products is the active chemical is at a much lower ratio. So what happens is, like humans, when we start taking too much medication, too much Tylenol, we build an immunity to it. So people just say, I take 5 Tylenols and it doesn't help my headache, because you've taken it so much, you built an immunity. Animals are the exact same, and so are insects. On lower dosages, the dosage is not strong enough to kill them. It might make them sick, but it gives them the opportunity to develop an immunity towards this product. So when we come in, we're now dealing with an insect that has a tolerance to what we're putting in. So we have to increase our medication, our chemicals, to try to attack it and be more harsh against them. So all your do-it-yourself products, you might find are effective. In the long term, they are not effective, especially when it comes to insecticides, because with insects, these chemicals don't kill their eggs. It only kills the carrier. So the female might die, but the eggs build an immunity to what you've put down. So it's very critical to use it properly. And the other issue is that when people buy these, they don't quite read the label on how to apply it and how much of it to apply. So they try to maximize what they can get out of this can, which means they're putting even less than what they're supposed to be putting down, which again increase the tolerance very easily for them.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, great point. How it can kill them, but not the eggs. So that's the main thing, actually, to take in consideration. Thank you for talking about some of the strategies we can use to actually exterminate pests.
Connecting people, building communities, helping clients to build multi-generational wealth through real estate.